we have Dr. Bhagban Prakash. And Dr. Bhagban Prakash is going to speak about ideas as instruments and enablers of change. Dr. Bhagban Prakash. Put your hands together for him, please.
I am standing before you with a very mixed feeling. The gentleman who brought me closer to iCONGO is now in a cancer hospital in Kolkata, struggling for his life. I've been listening to distinguished speakers here with a lot of interest. Susmita, Shashi, Sushantji, Chandrasekhar, and many of you. Just to build a little context, I would take you 15 years back in history, in the year 2000, when the Focus magazine conducted a survey all over the world and sent 50,000 questionnaires to different category of people, asking them to mention one idea which has changed the world beyond recognition. And when all the questionnaires were collected, compiled, collated, so many of the people thought that it would be nuclear energy. Some thought it should be printing press. And some other felt that it must be computer. Some said it must be some other thing like the invention of fire. Some said it would be most likely the wheel, because that actually wheel attached wheels to the movement of the civilization. Civilization moved after the wheels. But then it was a small little idea, invention, which came out first in the list. And many of us, we never imagined that this was the idea. It was the modern flush latrine toilet system. This was adjudged as the #1 idea which changed the face of the human civilization and liberated millions of scavengers from very ignominious kind of work which they have been doing. Friends, ideas have changed the world, and sometimes beyond recognition, small ideas, little ideas, but many ideas also have died out. I would suggest to iCONGO that you also need an incubatory where you can preserve these ideas. Because many of these seeds, without the proper soil and the condition, they also die. Some ideas keep there like a seed under the soil, and it takes years for them to sprout. One idea which we promoted long back in 1980s was to reduce the voting age of the citizens from 21 to 19 years to 18 years. And in a room like, in a seminar consultation like this, it was the International Youth Year, 1985. And during that year, we organized, there was a number of conferences, consultations, seminars, how to promote the youth development in the country. And in one small room, in a small group discussion where 5 people are sitting, we suggested this idea that why not, if you want young people to participate in the decision-making processes in the development, that the voting right, the age for voting should be reduced to 18 from 21. And we, in support of that, we prepared a list of arguments that by 18, half of Indians are eligible to marry and to raise a family. By 18, all Indians are eligible to have a driving license. By 18 is the final year of the adolescence, that the year adolescence ends. 18 is the year when everybody is allowed to eligible to participate in the work participation. 18 is also the year where you can join the army. Before that, 2 years before that, 16. If you can defend your country, you can raise your family, you can marry, why can't you vote? That was the argument. But this argument, there was no takers. The argument remained for almost 2 years, and until a young Prime Minister who was looking for new ideas, he got it included in his manifesto, in his party manifesto. And this finally led to an amendment of the Indian Constitution in 1988, that is the 61st amendment of the Indian Constitution. And it was converted into an act, and in 1989 it was implemented. And in one decision, one small idea born in a small corner in a place like this can also lead to the change of the amendment of the Indian Constitution. And with this, 57 million young Indians got the voting rights. So that is the power of an idea. It may come from any person here. What I wanted to tell you, that any idea also needs takers. Inventions also need investors. So without innovations also need initiators, those who will implement it. And without such support, sometimes ideas also, they languish, they decay, and they die. For example, like I am giving you another example. Another small, simple story I would like to tell you. There was a great Buddhist monk, Bodhidharma. He had been to China in the 6th century, and he wanted to spread the Buddhistic ideas in China and to acquire disciples. And in 9 years' time, he could only convince only 3 persons. In 9 years, he made 900,000 people, and only 3 persons were ready to accept his ideas. He has a strange habit of sitting cross-legged facing the wall, and with his back to the audience in every meeting like this. And then one day somebody from the audience stood up and asked, "Why are you doing this? You are showing your back to us and your front to the wall." Then he replied, "The wall, my words bounce back from the wall, and my words also bounce back from you." The friends, when I was teaching in a college long back, we were taking the students to the campus, to the community. We were living with the people, working with them, learning from them, staying for about a week, and we were returning. And one day a young student, he said, "Sir, why should we stay in the camp outside the village? Why can't we stay in the family of the villages?" So we decided that our people, because sometimes those are the days when poverty alleviation was a great program. Everybody was speaking about poverty, Garibi Hatao and all that. So then they said that Garibi Hatao is not the right call. Let us live in the houses of the poorest people in the village. So we selected only 12, when we raised this issue, only 12 volunteers came forward, and all of them, they went, and in 12 poorest families in that locality, they stayed, and they worked with their host parents. And at the end of the 7th day, it was a quite emotional scene, and you will be all happy to know. I was so happy to see the young people here with new ideas. Out of 12, 11 boys, they decided not to take up any sarkari job. And they started their own organizations in tribal areas, in remote areas, in backward areas. So that is the power of thought, power of idea. My point is, without takers, supporters, motivators, iCONGO is doing a great job motivating people, those who have ideas. Motivating people, ideas will remain as ideas, because ideas also need legs to walk. They also need hands to work, or else they will be floating in the air. Thank you.
So Thank you, Dr. Bhagban Prakash, and we are so grateful, you may come up center, to Roktamda. Roktamda is battling cancer and is in hospital. He's one of our Karmaveer Chakra awardees and has been a very honest, upright civil servant and has been a part of our fight for electoral reforms. I'm happy to say that I like the idea which Dr. Bhagban Prakash put over here, that you need investors for ideas. And if the ideas are right, the investors are there. And I think that's proven because Roktamda, who's, like I said, been a very honest civil servant, and while he's fighting and battling cancer, another Karmaveer who does not wish to be named has been bearing all his medical expenses, which run into lakhs of rupees every year for the past 3 years, three and a half years now. So that's what we tried to bring together. But yes, we offer Dr. Bhagban Prakash that he can start the incubation center for ideas. Yeah. Any questions for Dr. Bhagban Prakash? Yes, we'll go with Asif first. Professor Bangya will come to you so that some others get a chance also, yeah?
Sir, interesting topic in fact, but do you agree with this approach? I was just recently reading in McKinsey, one of the articles, it said, it was said, quoted by Israel Prime Minister, and it says, today we cannot afford to win wars based on the number of combat or the number of weapons that we have. Today is the world where actually ideas prevail over army or air force. And today we have we can only win wars by having the right ideas at the right time. And he was talking about Google and Facebook. Do you agree with that approach?
I personally feel that idea is a very heavy word. It could have both positive and negative consequences. But if ideas, good ideas, what we mean is the good ideas, constructive ideas, creative ideas, properly handled, properly propagated, they have a great chance of changing this world. A small book with little ideas, 3-4 ideas by Ruskin, it changed the entire approach of Mahatma Gandhi onto this last. Another small book, an army driver, became a cult figure, Anna Hazare, by just going through a small little book of ideas by Swami Vivekananda. And one of the youngest heroes of India, there are many young heroes here, I was listening to them. One of the youngest heroes in India completed his education by the year he was 16 and completed all his missions by the year he was 32 and left the world. It was Adi Shankaracharya. So there are many instances where ideas have changed the world, irrespective of what the Prime Minister has said. But ideas have, only these ideas need wheels. They need legs to walk and hands to work.
Thank you, Dr. Bhagban Prakash. Thank you, Asif. We have basically kind of kept reiterating this, that the whole idea of creating Rex as a platform for ideas for action is to bring those simple ideas to the fore, and that's rooted in our Eastern wisdom. The zero is a simple idea, but I wonder what any other number would be without that one simple idea, right? So it's that. How can those simple ideas impact humanity and society? We have a young boy here, since he spoke about how youngsters are driving change, who has given feet to his idea by himself, with his thoughts, with his actions, and with the support of his family. I would like Sumer to share what he is doing with Information. Sumer, if you could take the microphone behind and share about your Information, right?
I'm a 16-year-old boy studying at Sri Ram School in Gurgaon. And quite basically what my idea was about the news nowadays and how it affects our generation. So I'm sure you all have all seen newspapers nowadays, especially our dailies, which provide us with most of the news we get, are full of crime and corruption and sensationalism and other things which for those newspapers are important for their audience, but I was feeling for my generation, we want to know about constructive news, about what's changing the world. And I felt there was a lot of news we were missing out. So I started this after my board exams. I started a news weekly, where to a small, every week I would increase the number of people I sent it to, but mostly my age group, and I would compile information from a lot of sources around the world that covered news which wasn't what you usually get in your newspapers. It ignored sensationalism, politics, and instead focused on big things that are changing the world. I could give you a few examples. I covered geoengineering. I had a leader to know column every week, which educated people about various leaders who they may have not heard of. Biroz Vacha, Aung Suu Kyi, these are various leaders. So there's a lot of news that people my age miss out on, and my entire idea was that they get an alternative news source, and it's in working in currently I'm trying to upscale it, and Jerry's helped a lot in recognizing the idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumer. Thank you so much. Brilliant. So very insightful thoughts over there. Thank you, Dr. Prakash.